Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's DLloyd. So man, we have quite a few free agency things to talk about here in this video. But of course, I had to give proper credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have looked really good in the first two games, winning both of them in Denver. I did not think that was going to be the case. I thought this would be a solid series, but I thought Denver will win this in 6, maybe 7. But they're making me look wrong with that prediction, and I do want to give them the credit because they are looking really good. Even without Rudy Gobert, they are locking up on the defensive end. So just wanted to give them their credit because they have looked really good so far in this series. But of course, we have 3 things to talk about here in this video, all pertaining to front office stuff, of course. So the first thing, we talked about it before in the past, but it was reported on again yesterday, and that is Klay Thompson potentially going to the Orlando Magic. Now, this one is very, very interesting because we heard yesterday that there is mutual interest between both parties involved. That is interesting, right? Because we know Klay Thompson going to be an unrestricted free agent. He did not get the contract offer that he really wanted, right? We were hearing 2 years, $49 million was around what was being offered by the Golden State Warriors, and that was before the season began. We know how the season went. He got benched for a little bit in the season, did get back into the starting lineup, but played terribly. Not trying to be rude, but played terribly in the play-in game, giving you 0 points, which is just not very good at all. So we'll see, of course, what the offer is going to look like, because Golden State will submit an offer, but they're strapped for cash. And I think with the new rules with the first apron, second apron, it's going to be a lot tougher for teams to just keep talent pretty much at all times. So I do think Orlando is a very real possibility, and I think it's a really good fit because you just take a look at really everything involved, right? You need to have a team that is good enough to still win and still good enough to carry, right? Because Klay Thompson not going to come in, he's not going to carry an entire team. But Klay Thompson is an incredible asset to have to any team. When you look at Orlando, they are one of the better defensive teams in the NBA. Yes, they did lose in Game 7, give up a 17-point comeback, which was not good, but they are very good defensively. Where they struggle has always been shooting. They are one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA. So to play at that high of a level on one end and that poor of a level on another end, that is something that needs to be figured out. Now, Klay Thompson is not going to magically change that, but what he does is provide a ton of spacing that Orlando may not have now, because if you are not a threat to shoot the ball consistently, what are teams going to do? They're going to pack the paint. They're going to make sure that they are okay giving up the 3-point shot. If you're on that night and you can hit that night, that's fine. That is the poison that we're going to pick, right? But if we can now make a situation in Orlando where there's a guy that's always able to knock down a 3. I don't care if Klay Thompson is struggling or not. There is nobody that's going to leave Klay Thompson just wide open on the wing, wide open in the corner. Nobody's going to do that. Somebody will be assigned to Klay Thompson, which then creates a little bit more spacing. Now, if they get more shooting, even better. But just adding Klay Thompson to the roster that is already there, it does add that element. And then you have guys that could get to the basket a little bit more. Paolo could go to work because he has that spacing. I think that's very important. I think that is actually a very good fit for Klay Thompson if he left Golden State. I think Golden State obviously is a great fit as well. It's going to come down to the money. Orlando has money to spend, and I do think they're going to go after Klay Thompson. Now, we heard Paul George is the name that they will go after. I do not think that is the number one name. It's going to be Klay. Klay fits with what they're trying to do. And I think that's the guy. Now, speaking of Paul George, let's talk about him for a second, because we also made videos saying that he's probably going to be gone, and there's a very good destination for him, and that is the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, with Paul George, it is interesting because we have known, probably the last couple of years, that at some point, if the Clippers fail to really make noise in the playoffs, if not win a championship, when do they decide to maybe blow this up or maybe go in a different direction, because clearly keeping the same core players has not worked. Now this year you add in a James Harden to that core to go with Russ, to go with PG, to go with Kawhi Leonard. Of course, we have issues with Kawhi Leonard being hurt in the playoffs again, but you really can't use that at this point, because how many times have we seen or been able to say that, hey, Kawhi Leonard, he's going to miss the game 3, or Kawhi Leonard is going to miss game 4. This is becoming pretty much normal at this point, and that's very unfortunate. But when you look at the team, right, you will be a fool to keep going down the same path. So we are hearing that, yes, they have made multiple contract offers to Paul George. However, none of those offers have been the max. And Paul George and his camp, they are looking for max money. Now, we did a deep breakdown really on their salary cap situation in the past, and it is very tight for the Clippers, right? They're more than likely going to be a second apron team. How much money do you want to invest? How much money do you want to put down on a team that just got bounced in the first round? Interesting, right? We know Russell Westbrook, he is going to potentially be looking for other destinations. But the thing with Russell Westbrook is, I'm not sure where the market is. The market for Paul George is going to be incredible. And once again, you have the Philadelphia 76ers that have money, that are in a situation where they could make a play on a big time free agent this year. And I think that could be Paul George. If, going on to the last person we want to talk about with free agency, if Paul George does not work out, then their backup plan could actually be Jimmy Butler. What we are now hearing is a real possibility. Jimmy Butler is looking for $200+ million. I'm not sure Miami feels that they are willing to invest that much in Jimmy Butler at this point in his career. But once again, you look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia could say, maybe for the next 2 years, we could go all in. Maybe the next 3 years, we could go all in. And we could see what happens with this current roster, because you have the money to be able to do so. And you know, with the injury history of Joel Embiid, maybe having another guy that could carry the load, especially come playoff time, could be very important. Now, you know, Maxey is slowly becoming the face of the organization just because of the health of Joel Embiid. So pairing Maxey with a guy like Joel Embiid, of course, that is great. That is fantastic. But what's going to happen when he's hurt? You bring in Jimmy Butler. Or what's going to happen in the playoffs, where you just need a third guy that could defend at a high level, that can make good IQ basketball plays. You have Jimmy Butler right there. If somebody's off, now Butler is there. That could be a very well possibility to bring him back. So that's what we're hearing right now, that those could be 3 players to watch for in free agency. And that is not a bad free agency period to go into, because I do think there will be moves. I do think with the new apron rules, we will see teams have to consolidate a little bit in terms of they cannot keep everybody. So we will see some names out there. I for sure am confident in saying I think Paul George will be there. I'm not sure if that max money is going to come for the Clippers just yet. Maybe it will in free agency, but just yet I don't see that happening. Klay Thompson, we just don't know what Klay Thompson is looking for in terms of price. If the price is right or is close, I think he returns to Golden State. But if it's not anywhere near where he wants it to be, then I do think Orlando's in play in that situation. And with Jimmy Butler, just comes down to money as well. So those are things to look out for. Now, last thing I do want to talk about here in this video, why not throw it all in one video? The Lakers do have a big man coming back. That's going to be Christian Wood, who did pick up his player option for $3 million. So he will be back next season for the Lakers at a solid price. The thing with Christian Wood is there's so much promise in the talent and in the idea of Christian Wood. It doesn't always come to fruition, but we did not see Christian Wood in this series with the Denver Nuggets. Would he have made a difference? Would he have been just another big body that you could have thrown on Nikola Jokic? Maybe, but for that price and for what the Lakers are trying to do, I think this was expected. It did happen. I'm not mad at it. As a Lakers fan, welcome back to LA, Christian Wood. We will see how another year with the Lakers goes. And I would love to see just a couple more big men sign with the Lakers. I think that is the big issue. I love AD to death. AD is not naturally a center. Remember, he's been a power forward the majority of his career until he got to LA. I would love for him to play more power forward than center. Of course, certain matchups just dictates that you have AD at the 5, but whenever possible, I would love for AD to go back to the 4 and go that route. But you guys let me know. I said a lot. You guys let me know what you guys think about this free agency stuff. What would you like to see? What are some things you're hearing? Let me know in the comment section below. As usual, hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go ahead and leave this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm see you next time. Peace.